Hello everyone. Long time no see. It is getting hot in sunny LA. It's also been pretty active in terms of the protest. It's really hard for me to shoot videos out of my home because it's very, very loud. So I'm shooting at my offices. I've got a nice angle so people can see the art. We're going to do a couple reviews of the previous remotes, and then we're going to do some blitzes for the week. Some tarot blitzes. The first thing that's getting a lot of attention that people are asking me about is the fact that things are heating up in North Korea. It looks like Kim Jong-un is missing in action. His sister is beginning to take on more of a military position, threatening South Korea, which has been trying to throw leaflets over to gain support for their position. Trying to get North Koreans to basically to get an uprising going. It's interesting to do remotes on Kim Jong-un's sister. And what's interesting when you go into remotes about this individual is the fact that she always feels to me like a true believer. She is somebody who grew up 3 generations in control of North Korea. And so she has no understanding. To put yourself in a position of Kim Jong-un's sister, you have to understand that she has no other reference. The only reference she has is that her grandfather was in charge, her father was in charge, and her brother was in charge. So this is the only world she knows. And so consequently, when you put yourself in her shoes, she is a true believer. In that sense, she, like many fundamentalists, many fanatics, she's willing to play offense rather than defense because she believes in the truth of her cause. It was interesting to do a remote about her in the last couple of days because I really did try as a Westerner to understand her position. And basically what she said in the remote was that the crime of North Korea, this is her perspective, the crime of North Korea was that they didn't want to participate in the world banking system that the West has been thrusting on North Korea and the rest of the world. So she saw it as a kind of economic bullying that the West, particularly the United States, would go into areas and then they would push Christianity, which is what happened in South Korea. They built churches, they missionized. They didn't just take over the area, but they also took over the belief systems of the South Korean people. And then once they had taken control over the belief systems, which Kim Jong-un's sister sees as toxic and false belief systems, or the belief systems of the oppressor, they then began to oppress South Korea, etc., with the policies, Western economic policies that actually hurt the Korean people. The only problem with his argument is that the people in South Korea seem to be doing a lot better than the people in North Korea. But her argument is basically that the sanctions, the threats, etc., are because she says North Korea is like a last holdout. They don't want to participate in the Western economic structure, which puts Asia and particularly North Korea at a disadvantage. And so for that reason, that's why people are picking on North Korea. She saw it as an economic issue and colonizing Korea. So for that reason, she's angry. And it's an interesting way to look at it, and it's certainly not the way that we look at it here in the United States. When I go into the remote, for a very long time, I've not felt that Kim Jong-un is around. Either he has completely disengaged, he's not well enough to continue on, or something else has happened. We did do a remote, which I called a story because I wasn't confident about the remote, that he had contracted COVID, and in the remote, because of his health concerns, he had become quite ill. We're going to do a simple prayer now, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at what's going on in the world, and then we will we'll focus on the United States first, and then we will try and expand to do some world throws as well. I want to call on white light protection for myself and my viewers as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic Records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Give us the clarity and the wisdom needed to empower all of us to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, for the people we love, and even to help those we have strife with. And together we say amen. Let's go in, and we're just going to talk about what is going on in the United States politically this week and energetically, so that we get our bearings, and then after that we can look at some other things. What is going to be going on in the United States this week? How's it going to affect us? What wisdom or what information do we need to take away in order to help ourselves? Where we are at right now is a new beginning, and there's a judgment coming. So it's interesting. You go into the remotes for this election season, and it really feels like a lot of people have jumped ship with this president. He really has lost most of his allies, and while he can try and fight and be as aggressive as possible, the problem is that the tools that he used to use are just not available anymore. The large rallies, the resources. He's lost the support of most of the unions, which is devastating. But we can see here judgment strong, and the Page of Wands moving in. A new beginning or a new horizon for the United States. We're headed towards a good road. We might have a nice Ace of Swords moving in. Victory after tears. And what crosses us? A Chariot card, which would indicate movement. We're moving towards something that appears to be a victory of some type for the United States. Judgment looks solid in the United States with the 11th card, the energy we're moving through, which is a clear judgment, sound judgment, and a new beginning for the country. What is above us? Confusion, gaslighting. The Moon card is a card that has to do with howling at the moon, lunatic energy, gaslighting. There is still an element of confusion for the nation with a card like that in the 4th house. And then what we sit in, I like this. This is the peacemaker, the negotiator. It's the King of Hearts. I really feel there's a compassion or a new energy that people are connecting to. And I really like the fact that Biden has been able to really, in a very non-aggressive way, encourage this kind of beautiful, loving, compassionate energy. He's appealing to the better angels, America's better angels. But you can see here the Moon card and the Devil card, so we're still not out of the woods. Lunatic energy, being addicted to relationships that don't serve us. This can be drug, alcohol abuse, particularly with a Moon card crossing a Devil card. We should all be careful about our daily habits, particularly any habits that would be suggestive of addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction. If we're talking about the country as a whole, it looks like we're getting very clear and we're moving in a positive direction. But what we can all do to help ourselves be part of the change is to be mindful of our daily habits. I don't like this. This is also indicative, like I said, lunatic energy, sick or unhealthy relationships with others. And where we're at right now, see all this beautiful Cups energy coming in and the nice victory after tears, new established, new foundations, the hope and the fear, the ability to hang it up, and death. So we are coming out of the Trump era. We are coming out of whatever era this was. It was a very cruel, it was a very harsh time in American history. But as you can see, there's a death card coming in. And the clarification, again, Page of Cups, healing. This is Hermes, who brings messages of healing. That's how I read it, and what is around. There's a lot about a change is going to come. Knight of Wands is about a change is going to come. The hope and the fear, strife, growth in August, and power, the judges, sane judgment, prefrontal cortex, my ears are ringing. But this is a good card when it comes over the death card, because Emperor, it denotes reasonable thinking. It's as if the rational wins, the heart and the rational wins over the insanity and the crazy. All right, so that was pretty interesting and pretty positive. It looks like we're moving in a good direction. Be careful about unhealthy relationships that don't serve us. Let's do some blitzes. All right, Donald and Melania. Now, as I had said in previous remotes, when we looked at Melania, when she had worn the coat, I don't care to you, we did a remote on that. If you go back to the time period when that was going on, you can see the remote. But what it looked like to me as a remote viewer was that she had walked off the job when Donald Trump's lover was talking about their relationship, etc., in the press. There was a lot of attention on Melania about these affairs coming out. So from a remote viewer's perspective, it looked like she had walked off the job and that she was going to renegotiate her prenup in exchange for completing one term of the presidency as a first lady. And so now that is coming to an end, and so we'll see how that plays itself out. But let's take a look at Donald Trump and Melania. It also looked like they no longer felt safe in D.C., and that the protests were making them not feel safe, not only in the White House, but in all of D.C. Melania and Donald Trump. Where they are at right now, the base of the matter, Ace of Wands moving in with an Ace of Pentacles, double aces. That's actually good news for them. It means new beginning and a new offer, a financial offer. And carrying the load, hard work coming, possibly a move, possibly to a new location. It can sometimes indicate Ten of Wands moving to a new house or a new location. They have a Ten of Wands in their first house. Like that little house in the background. Packing up and moving on. What crosses coins back and forth. Coins back and forth. It can be the flim-flam man, or it can be possibly trying to handle more than one business and feeling overwhelmed by one's business. Walking away from a battle that cannot be won. Five of Swords in the fourth house. Trying to get to a new beginning. And the Fool takes a leap of faith. A new beginning happening here. Confusion now. What is around them? A new contract is being offered. The hope and the fear, patience, and then the final outcome, they take a new offer. This almost looks like he's offered a position to be, this sounds absolutely crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's almost like he negotiates some contract to have a reality TV show that has political undertones. You know, it's like he wants to have a TV show shot out of Mar-a-Lago or something. He's got a new contract here. He's got double aces. They're offering him money. They're offering him a new business. Look at this. Here's the contract in the 8th house, confused. It's almost like this guy would make more money not being the president, and if they can seduce him and pull him out of there to a new home, it could seduce him to say, I'm out of here because I've got a better offer in the public sector. Yeah, I think this guy's going to go back to television. I think he's going to go back to reality TV. I think that he's already negotiating some kind of a deal. And I think that this is how they're going to seduce him out of the White House. I think they are literally doing this partially to seduce him out of the White House. It's crazy, and I think that that's how I would interpret this. In plainer words, the way to get Donald Trump out of the White House is not to freak out and have to call the National Guard. The way to get him out of the White House is to give him an offer he can't refuse that's even better. So if you tell him, hey, we're going to pay you so many millions of dollars to shoot a reality TV show out of Mar-a-Lago, the inside life of the Trumps, and we're going to pay you 10 times what you're currently making, that's what these cards suggest. You can see here the offer and the exchange of ideas as the outcome. But look what they're pushing through, the offer of the money and then a new beginning and career. It may not be what people want to hear, but it's the fastest way to get him out. And that seems to be what's happening. That was surprising, huh? All right. Let's take a quick look at Joe Biden's cards and see if he has. We know that he's down to about 6 final people, 6, 7 final women in his decision for who's going to be the VP. I'm just going to check Biden's cards and see if we see anything about that or what's going on with the Biden campaign. Going on with Biden's campaign. Look at this, Devil card and Tower. There's some kind of explosion or a major event that's coming. Devil card is not good. It means that something is going to happen that's really going to hamper this campaign. And you can see the Tower moving in. Trump's cards are much better than Biden's, I'm sorry to say. I don't like the fact that he's moving through a tower, which would suggest some kind of major upset in his campaign. And then the Devil card would suggest that something's going on with his campaign that makes it very difficult for him to move on. There's also a grief card here in the first house, coming into a grief regarding what's crossing it. There's the offer coin. It's, you know what this is? This is the burden of the presidency he's taking on. Look at this. He's chained to the commitment. And he's taken on the burden of a presidency that's a mess. The reason why Donald Trump's cards are better is because Donald Trump is out of there. He's free. Donald Trump's not going to have to deal with this. Donald Trump doesn't have to deal with cleaning up the mess that was left by this current administration. This is the mess of the presidency. This is the mess of being the 46th president. There's a tower he's going to have to deal with. He's going to have to deal with diehard Trump supporters with the Devil card moving in. Feels limited in what he can do. But look, he's in a position of power. So I think that this could be confusing for readers. Why are his cards so bad and Trump's so great? Does that mean that Trump's going to be elected? No, Trump's cards are so great because he has a backdoor exit and it looks like it's a new job with plenty of money. So he's out of there. I'm safe. Woohoo! Even if they come out to get me, I got an additional $10 million to pay for lawyers. That's the cards of Donald Trump. Whereas with this individual, this is the adult that has to clean the hoarder's house. This is the guy that has to go into the chaos, to the mess that's been left due to bad behavior, and has to scrub the floors. See, he gets his wish, but look at the disaster he inherits. There he is moving into the White House, right? The labor that causes you to move, they're both moving. He's got a female next to him who's a water sign, the hopes and the fears, the ethos of the nation, the strength of the nation, the laws, the foundation of the nation. Chachma and Bina are the Sphirot, wisdom. And the final outcome, we will be ruled by the Queen of Wands. A fire sign female appears. I see women, all women, every time I access records on Joe Biden. Look at the women. Never ceases to amaze me. He has the Ace of Swords. Joe Biden's presidency, he's going to get us out of this. Look at that. Sun coming in. He will usher in a time of compassion. We could see him leaving the presidency after 2.5 years volunteering to step down just because of age and because he doesn't feel it's fair to the voters. We could see him agreeing to step down, not because he dies or anything like that. There's a feeling here as he progresses, getting things up to snuff for this new person that's going to lead. The perfect judge, Yehudit, is the outcome. Doesn't mean she's going to be a fire sign. It just means that she's a strong judge. When I think of this card, I just think of people like Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, a strong, solid judge. But there's a Ten of Swords here as well, which means that there's something bittersweet and painful here. You can see here. And what I think that painful something is that for the good of the nation, Biden may choose not to complete his presidency. All right, so I was asked repeatedly by people if I would take a look at Jeremy Corbyn and Boris Johnson, what's going on in Britain, because people are concerned about COVID there and because Brexit is kind of on hold again. So I'm just going to take a look at what we see happening in Britain. And then I want to talk a little bit about Brazil. What is going on with Boris Johnson, Brexit, let's take a look at also what's going on with Labour. The inheritance card comes in. This is basically something that through their actions they inherit, or they have collected this. Four of Cups is a stubborn card. That's not good. It would suggest that Boris Johnson or whoever leadership is in the coming months in Britain, there's still a refusal to work as a group. This stubbornness is not what Britain needs right now. They need more of the community working together, and that's just not what's happening. There's also this battle as if there's more than one Britain. It feels for the remote viewer as if there's no one community in charge. For example, you get strong cards on the courts in Britain. Old laws, old traditions, courts, etc. Often being in opposition with Parliament, often being in opposition with the people. It's almost as if the main problem you see with Britain is that everybody's arguing because everybody has a different legitimate position to take. I don't see a female in charge in Britain, but there's a possibility of two men being involved in the coming. Let me just see this. Here's the problem with Boris Johnson, with his cards. If you're looking at this from the perspective of Boris Johnson in Britain, he seems to be so stubborn that nobody can work with him. I mean, walking away, death card, Four of Cups here, this Page of Swords, Justice card. The main problem with Britain is that progress could be extremely slow simply because of an intolerance or a refusal in Britain for people and communities, the courts, Parliament, the people, etc., to come together to come up with some kind of cohesive solution to their problems. This is a country, when you go into the remote, where refusal to work together could be catastrophic for the future of the country. Okay, wow, that's intense. All right. And now the last one we're going to do is Brazil. I did a remote on Brazil a couple of days ago. It didn't look good in the sense that there's a lot more damage being done to the ecosystem, a lot more burning and destruction of the rainforest in Brazil, and unfortunately, the COVID cases are going up. So I just want to look at what's going on politically and the future of Brazil. And then we'll close. Yeah. What's going on with Brazil? Heartbreak. They're going through heartbreak, and then Ten of Swords. They're going through something similar to the United States in the sense that this is a legacy card. So they're looking at the traditional values of Brazil, and there is a feeling that the person who's in charge right now probably does not represent the values or the ethos of the nation. Certainly, it's not what they think of as their inheritance. But that Three of Swords makes me think that the leader of Brazil is out of touch, out of step with his people right now. Bolsonaro, is that who we call it, his name? Yeah, out of touch. Out of touch, out of time. There he is. He's also having problems with the church. There, again, it's the same thing. Positions of people battling for power in Brazil. You can see here leadership offers. People are trying to work with him. You've got the courts over here. You've got the church over here. The Devil card. Three of Wands. So he's having, this is almost like Rome, where you have all these battles. You've got the church battle. You've got greed. You've got the courts. You've got international relationships. And then he's stuck in the middle. It's going to be hard for him to try and make everybody happy. And he can't get a coalition together. That's the best way to describe it. I didn't know the church was I didn't know people's religious beliefs or faith was so strong, but you can see the Hierophant in the 4th house and then him feeling trapped by it. In plain words, the belief systems of the people, the church, the faith of the people has somehow limited what he can and can't do. Could also be their beliefs about the country. And then the heartbreak moving in here. And the Hanged Man. I don't think that it's going to be very hard to remove him. It's going to be very hard to remove Bolsonaro with cards like this. But the only way to get rid of somebody like this is for the people to stand up and do what's happening here in the United States, which is that his behavior does not jive with the ethos of the country. All right, that was pretty interesting. So it looks like what's happening all over the world for a lot of countries is that nations are examining what their ethos or what their values are. And we could see a lot of this leadership, these oligarchies and these people that are in charge that are Putin's puppets, so to speak. They're going to have a real hard time going forward because it looks like they're going to start being pushed out by their own citizens. That's basically what it looks like. All right, I had to speak quietly because we have patients in the office today. All right, thanks for watching today, everyone. If you're trying to get in for a video, you can go to Dr. Whimsy's pages. You can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. And if you're trying to get in for a telemedicine appointment, you can go to drwhimsy.com. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.